Beauty is more of a pursuit than a destination. Our culture prizes symmetry, harmony, balance, and purity, with perfection as the objective. Variations are considered blemishes. Deviation from the standard invites scrutiny or outright rejection. So we trim and fill, pluck and preen, imposing our ideals upon ourselves and our surroundings. The result of all this primping is a world that's soulless and boring, where individual features get blended away, refined into a long line of forgettable lookalikes. So when I'm confronted by an ungroomed and natural beauty, presented with this paradox, I must admit, I have arrived at a new standard of beauty. Skiing is perceived as a status-oriented luxury experience hosted by resorts and only accessible to an elite clientele. Check out the price on an Icon or Epic Pass. So when Mount Bohemia sells a season pass for $99, it is truly an exceptional value. But there's a catch. It's a different form of exclusive. Mount Bohemia is for experts only, with no grooming and no snowmaking and a strict no beginners policy. For good reason, just about every route down this mountain will require navigating a double black diamond tree run or a bumped up mogul marathon. With an array of sister resorts, I'm sure there are some novice or intermediate boho season pass holders who utilize the access to these hills but never actually visit the mountain. To be honest, I'm starting the season as an intermediate skier who has been away from the sport for many years. If I have any hopes of skiing at Bohemia this year, I have a lot of practicing to do and a lot of new skills to learn. So I bought my pass, figuring even if I only visited the resorts in the Lower Peninsula, it would still be a good value. My ambitions for the season are perhaps a bit optimistic, but I have dreams of skiing 20 days this season and advancing to Bohemia level terrain. The season starts at my home hill, Perfect North Slopes in southern Indiana.
First day of the 2025-2026 ski season. Pretty psyched.
It's exciting to be back on the slopes, shaking the bugs out of my ski gear and out of my skiing, before heading to the Lower Peninsula for a week of training at Boyne Mountain, Cabernet Peaks, and Crystal Mountain. It was just what I needed, some weekday skiing on fresh terrain, a chance to get off the groomers and ski through the trees on natural snow. I continued to chase the powder all the way home for 9 fresh inches in the backyard. These turns are hard-earned. This being my first year skiing at home, I'm still figuring it out. What started as a curiosity, maybe even an interest, over the course of the season has grown into an earnest and passionate desire to ski the trees at Mount Bohemia. My phone is overflowing with weather updates, as I glean the Mount Bohemia family forum on Facebook for useful bits of information and try to align my work, family, finance, accommodations, transportation, and weather all with the calendar. A week out, accommodations are scarce, but by booking hostel beds one night at a time and spending the night before in Marquette, I'm able to find a pathway to spend 3 days on the mountain. In final preparation, I spent the day skiing at Perfect North, and for inspiration, I hung around to watch the big air competition before packing up the truck for the 900-mile drive to Mount Bohemia. 12 days into my season, my confidence is building, but I still have skills to gain, having never skied on a hill with more than 400 feet of vertical or in really deep powder. Significant snowfall is in the forecast for the Highlands and Marquette Mountain, giving me further opportunity to practice along the way. Fresh lake effect snow comes with frigid temperatures and high winds. Good thing they have such bougie chairlifts here at the Highlands. The highlight of my day was the North Peak, where at the end of the Green Run Sugar and Spice, I found this mountain bike trail, which was worth a few laps. Marquette Mountain received nearly a foot of fresh snowfall prior to my arrival, giving me plenty of practice floating in the deep stuff. Despite the central and longest lift being down for the season, Marquette really delivered on fresh snow and old school charm. Part of gaining confidence is seeing and reading the terrain, managing risk, and managing consequences. Loading up in Marquette, I'm excited to see so much snow. The stories of legendary winters in the UP echo throughout the Midwest, and the reputation is well earned because snow is piled high wherever there's a place to put it. As I'm driving through the Keweenaw Peninsula, it's clear there's plenty more to see here. Pulling into the parking lot, as excited as I am, I'm also a little nervous. I have invested a lot of energy into this expedition. I've studied and practiced. I've probably driven my wife crazy just as surely as I drove across the Mackinac Bridge. The stakes are high for my success, and timing is everything. The constant query in the chat groups is, what are the conditions on the mountain right now? I have read glorious stories of legendary powder days and horror stories of freeze-thaw freeze cycles and wind-swept slopes that would be hazardous to even the most experienced skiers. With 10 fresh inches of powder on the ground, I have favorable conditions for my first run, as confirmed by my lift mate.
Sweet. Well, you couldn't have planned your first trip much better.
As assured as I am by these words, it also is occurring to me that this is a very long lift ride. In fact, this is the tallest mountain by far I will have ever skied on. Finding my way to the top is easy enough. Finding my way down may be another matter. I have read that Middle Earth and the Far East contain some of the longest and most gradual descents. My plan is to start off on Ghost Trail and drop into the woods at Milky Way, hanging to the left, skiing through Middle Earth, riding Shooting Star to the double chairlift. The top of the mountain is a spectacle to behold, with the prior day's snow still gripping tightly to all the branches, creating a black and white pen and ink drawing of a landscape. I had heard there were 3 types of Bohemians. Those who talk of visiting the mountain but never do. Those who make one run down and go home. And those who study the mountain and learn. I've sorted myself out of the first category by simply showing up. Now it's time for the mountain to decide which of the 2 remaining categories I belong in. Harry Potter battled Voldemort with his scar and his wand. Captain Ahab chased Moby Dick in the Pequod. All I have are these rental Great Solomons and some souvenir stickers. The time to prepare is over. It's time to learn the truth about my prospects of spending the next 3 days on this mountain. Having made a successful descent down Ghost Trail, I arrive at the drop-in for the Milky Way. It's time to test my abilities in the trees. The result is otherworldly, an absolute feast for the senses. All of my anxiety has melted away, immersed in the moment, following the fall line. Perhaps all of my fears were unfounded. If only it could go on like this forever. Whatever expectations I had have been exceeded so wildly. Two paths diverge in the woods. I take the one less traveled. Unfortunately, costing me momentum. Some of these trails are rated double black diamonds not for their descents, but for their climbs. Lost in the moment, the fog is clearing. The choices aren't really choices at all. I'm just feeling gravity's pull, speaking to me like the call of the void. My intention was to hang to the left and navigate the more gradual descents of Middle Earth or the Far East, but somehow, in the moment, I have been overcome by the desire to follow Pluto, and instead of hanging to the left, I am pulled to the right and inexplicably find myself in some of the steepest terrain on Jupiter. guess this is how the mountain determines just what sort of skier I'm going to become. I've been skiing for months, but in the last 300 yards, I've learned more than I've learned all year. Arriving at the double chairlift, I'm reminded of Grover, feeling embarrassed, finding himself to be the only monster at the end of this book. I guess my fears were the greatest obstacle to overcome. The world is full of teaser rates and hidden costs. A true bargain is hard to find. Some costs are paid in cash, but other barriers to entry cannot be breached with currency. Unlocking access requires courage and sacrifice. It's not a transaction, but a rite of passage. Over the course of the next 3 days, my skiing improved in ways that I could not have possibly imagined.
Shit.
All I can do is express my gratitude towards all the partner resorts for helping me along the way, and to Lonnie and the staff for building these relationships and providing such a unique experience. Thank you especially to my wife and my family for supporting me in this irrational endeavor.
I love skiing. This is awesome.
In the end, I have been all three Bohemians. The one who heard the mountains call. The one who was captured by and lives on the mountain. And the one who's been transformed by this experience. So it's hard to pack up my gear and say goodbye to my cozy preoccupation. But there's no fighting spring's arrival, with the melting snow filling the streams and visions of Bohemia filling my dreams.